is JD with a new edition of Weekly News Pills, a bouquet of hand-picked events in last 7 days from across the planet. I would request you to like and share these weekly news stories. Subscribe to my channel and put in your valuable comments. Your comments will be a guiding light in my endeavor. News Pill 1. India and UK to launch global solar grid project at COP26.
In a major global development push, India and UK will announce a global solar grid linking 140 countries at the COP26 summit in Glasgow. Prime Minister Modi will attend the COP26 summit on the 1st and 2nd of November, where the mega project is planned to be announced. The project, known as the Green Grids Initiative, is being initiated by the International Solar Alliance. The ISA was launched by India and France at the 2015 Paris Climate Conference to promote solar energy. The UK and India agreed to join forces in the initiative in May this year. The project aims to constantly harness solar energy around the world as the Earth rotates around its axis. ISA Director Ajay Mathur said the new project is based on the idea that the sun is always shining in some part of the world and aims to create a global grid that will transfer the sun's power from one place to another.
India and the UK will launch a project that aims to create a solar grid connecting countries in different parts of the world at the upcoming UN climate talks in Glasgow, Scotland. The project, known as the Green Grids Initiative, is being initiated by the International Solar Alliance, which was launched by India and France at the 2015 Paris Climate Conference to promote solar energy. The UK and India agreed to join forces in the initiative in May this year. Although solar energy is becoming cheaper than dirtier alternatives, countries cannot rely on it at night. The new project is based on the idea that the sun is always shining in some part of the world, and the project aims to create a global grid that will transfer the sun's power from one place to another, said Ajay Mathur, the Director General of the International Solar Alliance. For example, when it is dark in East Asia, it is still light in India. If there was a cable between India and East Asia, that solar electricity could be provided to East Asia. Mathur said estimates showed that in the next 3 years, solar power will become as cheap as power from fossil fuel, which will make it easier to build new solar power plants and storage facilities. But even then, it will require countries with different priorities to reach complex agreements. The project aims to start with a coalition of the willing, such as 2 countries that would mutually benefit from the transfer of solar electricity, he said. These countries would then have to decide how they want the interconnection to work and what rules should regulate it. The number of willing countries will keep on increasing over time as costs lower and certainties become higher. The International Solar Alliance hoped to enter into an agreement with a new group called the Global Energy Alliance, which includes philanthropy organizations and multilaterals like the World Bank, to create a $10 billion fund for the project and help mitigate risks. News Pill 2. In the middle of a crisis, Facebook Inc. renames itself Meta.
Facebook is now Meta, and it's building the metaverse. Let me explain.
I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta.
Oh, Facebook. Today at the company's annual Connect conference, CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced a name change to Meta and laid out its vision for the metaverse.
Like many companies in the trouble before it, Facebook is changing its name and logo. Facebook Inc. is now called Meta Platforms Inc. or Meta for short, to reflect what CEO Mark Zuckerberg said. This is its commitment to developing the new surround yourself technology known as the metaverse. But the social network itself will still be called Facebook. Also unchanged, at least for now, are its chief executive and senior leadership, its corporate structure, and the crisis that has enveloped the company. Skeptics immediately accuse the company of trying to change the subject from the Facebook papers, the trove of leaked documents that have plunged it into the biggest crisis since it was founded in Zuckerberg's Harvard dorm room 17 years ago. The documents portray Facebook as putting profits ahead of ridding its platform of hate, political strife, and misinformation around the world. The metaverse is sort of the internet brought to life, or at least rendered in 3D. Zuckerberg has described it as a virtual environment you can go inside of instead of just looking at on a screen. People can meet, work and play, use virtual reality headsets, augmented reality glasses, smartphone apps, or other devices. It also will incorporate other aspects of online life such as shopping and social media. According to Victoria Petrock, an analyst who follows emerging technologies, Zuckerberg said that he expects the metaverse to reach 1 billion people within the next decade, and that he hopes the new technology will create millions of jobs for creators. At headquarters in Menlo Park, California, the iconic thumbs up sign that has long been outside was repainted to a blue pretzel-shaped logo resembling an infinity symbol. Newspill 3. Is internet addiction a growing problem?
Cam Adair finally realized that his addiction to video games was out of control when it made him consider ending his life. I struggled with it for 10 years, he says. I dropped out of high school, never went to college, and pretended to have jobs to deceive my family. I eventually wrote a suicide note, and it was on that night that I realized I needed to get help.
Cam Adair finally realized that his addiction to video games was out of control when it made him consider ending his life. I struggled with it for 10 years, he says. I dropped out of high school, never went to college, and pretended to have jobs to deceive my family. I eventually wrote a suicide note, and it was on that night that I realized I needed to get help. I am now 3,860 days free from my gaming addiction. Mr. Adair, a 32-year-old Canadian, has gone on to become the founder of Game Quitters, an online support group for people struggling with gaming addiction. It now has more than 75,000 members around the globe. In their paper published in journal CNET Drugs on the Internet Addiction, Martha Shaw and Donald W. Black from the Department of Psychiatry, University of Iowa, classify gaming dependency as part of wider internet addiction. While many would argue that it is not as serious as alcoholism or drug addiction, it can still be debilitating for sufferers. To help combat internet addiction, a number of tech firms have produced tools that can be used to help block or limit access to the web or gaming websites. Linewise is one such product aimed at children, or more specifically their parents. Cam Adair is hopeful that tech firms such as Linewise, BedBlocker, and GameBlock can play an important role in helping to alleviate the problem, and it is important to stress that anyone concerned about any form of addiction should contact their doctor. Mr. Adair's work has been published in psychiatry research, and he is now an international speaker talking about addiction. Asking for help saved my life, he says. I was deceptive, withdrawn, isolated, hostile, and unreachable during my addiction. Now I am happy, content, and able to cope with normal life stresses. That is all for today. Thank you and goodbye for now. Stay blessed. See you in my next weekly episode.